We are tonight's entertainment.
You can't handle the truth.
The fire rises.
Pizza time.
You're a wizard, Harry.
So it begins.
You know how much I sacrifice?
You think that's air you're breathing?
Groovy.
I don't have friends. I got family.
We are Sex People! 1, 2, 3, 4!
Craft Services.
Hey, Trent.
Hi, Parth.
Good to see you.
You too, man.
You're looking
What's
well.
up? Oh, thank you. You too. How's it going? What's up?
Not much. I'm just wondering what you've been eating most recently.
I didn't have anything, so I just ate a clementine.
Very nice.
Sometimes when you eat a piece of fruit for breakfast, I'm like, oh, I feel good now. What about you?
It's funny that you mentioned fruit for breakfast because I just had a banana. Yesterday, I went grocery shopping and got a bag of mandarins from Costco and a bunch of bananas from ShopRite. So I'm feeling very healthy in my food of choice right now.
You went to 2 different grocery stores?
Because I work from home, I do basically all the grocery shopping between myself and friend of the show, Sophia Alexis, my good friend. And so there's a Costco and a ShopRite right nearby. So like big stuff I'll get from Costco, like milk, eggs, any like large quantity snacks that we need. And then smaller stuff like vegetables that'll go bad or whatever. Because like we don't have kids, you know? So it's like it's just the 2 of us. So like I'm not gonna get 6 bell peppers, that's ridiculous. But I'll get 3 from ShopRite.
Do you do it all in one foul swoop, or do you have to take 2 separate trips for like refrigeration reasons?
No, because I feel like I'm maybe like particularly not good about like people will be like, you can't just leave that out, it's gonna be bad. Or like if you buy frozen stuff, you're like, you don't want to leave it in the car or whatever. But I'm sort of like, it'll be fine. And you know what? It will be fine because I've been doing this for a long time now and nothing has ever gone wrong. Like, to be fair, these stores are quite close to each other, so it's not like I'm driving like 20 minutes between stores. But even if I had to, I would, and it'd be fine.
Yeah, only like ice cream I feel like becomes a problem. If it starts to like melt, it refreezes in a bit of a weird way.
But I don't even buy ice like I don't buy tubs of ice cream.
You just buy fruit.
Yep, kind of, yeah. Fruit, broccoli. I cooked a sweet potato yesterday, Trent.
A lot of the people I work with, I mean, we get like, set food every day for lunch.
Sure.
And then my practice is to save the other half of it and then put it in my bag. And then they don't get us a meal at the end of the day. And then it's like 10 p.m. and I'm starving and I don't want to pay for money. And so I go home and I eat that. And I've learned if people catch wind of the fact that you are saving your like chicken sandwich in the car for 6 hours, they think that you are like a gross person. And they're like, you're gonna get sick. Like there's bacteria growing on that. And I know that scientifically that's a bit true, but here's the thing. I've never once gotten sick. Almost everyone in my life has
and you have, I don't think you'll mind me saying, like, you can have sort of an uneasy stomach pretty easily.
If I like texturally feel like a banana that's too soft, I've like thrown up in the sink unprompted. Just based off texture. And so, yeah, like a lot of people in my life have gotten food poisoning and it seems so awful, and miraculously I've never been one of them. Yeah, I think if you don't eat leftovers, like you're maybe, I don't want to say bad person, but it's like
eating leftovers, like generally speaking, is ridiculous and wasteful.
And without even this time span attached to it, there was one of my coworkers was like, no, I don't reheat food. And I was like,
so you're a piece of shit.
I was like, that's my religion. And it's like, your parents used to say when you weren't finishing your dinner as a kid, like there are hungry kids in Africa and elsewhere. So it's like, let your food sit in the hot car for like 6 or 7 hours, 6, 7.
There we go.
Just had to work that in. It'll be fine. You'll be fine. The microwave is a magic place.
But you know who's not fine, Trent?
Arseni Khachaturan, DP.
Well, he's actually doing great. He's got a long, fruitful career ahead of him, but more so the listener. The listener is feeling like they want to hear the leftover interview. They want to reheat that up. You know what I'm saying?
That's like what part 2 is, Parth. We like
It's
accidentally
leftovers.
stumbled into this. It's the leftovers because it is one full meal. But
Exactly.
just like me at lunch, we accidentally stumbled into something actually pretty okay here.
It's like when you buy a burrito bowl from Chipotle and then you're like, I'm gonna save half of this.
Yeah, part 1 of the interview is eating it at Chipotle, and part 2 is putting it into a secondary container and reheating it at home. Or I guess Chipotle, you don't even really need to reheat for some reason. You kind of just go for it.
But on this show, you need to cue the intro.
Welcome back to Craft Services, where we talk about the movies each week. We talk about a film and hopefully have a crew member of that film to talk with us about their experience working on the picture this week. Parth, what happened?
We are continuing our conversation with Arseni Khachaturan, DP of Trent, Don't Be Dramatic, It's the Drama.
Wait, Parth, I really liked this movie, and then
So did I.
I really liked talking with him about his work on the movie, and like I think he did a nice job, and the movie turned out really well. And it's like, if you're listening to this and you haven't seen the movie yet, go see it. It's still in theaters, and then like come back, listen to part 1, and then like listen to part 2, and now you're up to speed.
Yeah, it's a very controversial movie, I guess. It sparked a lot of conversation, but I think it was both on Trent and I's wavelength, and we had a good time watching it, and we had a good time talking to Arseni, who very cool DP. And Trent, I edited the second part of this interview. I have to say, it's just as good, if not better, than the first half, because we start getting into some spoilers.
Parth, what was controversial? Or I don't have film Twitter, so how are the kids online reacting to this movie? It's controversial?
Well, if you've made it to part 2, then as I said, it's a spoiler conversation at this point.
And we just warned you, like, go watch the movie and then come
Exactly.
back. Okay, so now, what's up?
I think people take issue with the school shooting storyline. I think people,
That's the whole...
which is sort of the point of the movie. I think some people are sort of
so do the
uncomfortable.
characters. So do the characters within the movie.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a touchy subject, but I think the movie handles it pretty well, and I think Arseni does a really good job talking about.
Yeah, and shooting
look.
the movie. No pun
dear.
intended. Well, that's just his job.
Yeah, it's just what he had to do, and so I think maybe we should let the listener decide.
Yeah, but here in Craft Services, Parth and I liked it. We liked Arseni. We liked this interview. Here's part 2.
So we sort of touched a little bit on the dinner tasting scene. There's a revelation that happens during that scene. Once that revelation comes to pass, the whole movie, it's a completely different thing now. Were you looking at that differently stylistically at all? Like pre versus post revelation? Or were you trying to like create like a whole unified look throughout?
For the wine tasting scene, there was a massive shot list and there was a shot progression. We were trying to get tighter and tighter. Like the scene was originally split into 2 parts. There was pre-revelation and after, and the pre-revelation had this sort of very casual, very mundane shot list to it. There was all these pieces of coverage. We had two shots, 2 other 2 shots, and then we had all the singles, and we had a wide, some additional shots in the kitchen when the hostess goes to grab the wine bottles. And post revelation, there were tighter shots. There was dolly and zoom. There were all these moments that we were getting tighter and closer, and we were trying to cover it from different angles. Looking at the scene the way it is right now in the film, a lot of the stuff didn't make it into the film. And I think Josh and Chris, when they were editing the film, obviously had their reasons. The scene is beautiful right now, but the way we looked at it differently, we tried to intensify it visually. And I think the way it is right now in the film, it works beautifully, but there was definitely a shift in terms of how we thought about it originally and how we shot it. There was a shift.
In terms of what was cut, was it just like different coverage, like the kinds of shots were cut, or was there like actual content?
No, not the content. It was just different angles. There were profiles. There were all kinds of other things.
So we were talking about the shift sort of within that scene, but in sort of the whole first act before this revelation, were you thinking about the look any differently given the, yeah.
You mean the look between the pre-revelation and post-revelation?
Yeah, like the first act.
No, it had to be consistent. Like, I think there should be a certain consistency because nothing was really changing. Like, it's a scene at night and they're sitting around the table and it's an empty wedding venue and they're doing this wine tasting. It was pretty consistent. Unlike the wedding scene, an example was interesting because there was an actual light change. Like, during the wedding scene, we started the wedding scene in this bright daylight, which is intimidating, and it's also quite vague. Like, you don't know which way it's gonna go. You're nervous, and maybe this wedding is gonna be great, or maybe it's gonna turn into a total disaster. And then as the night progresses, it goes into a magic hour. Then there was this very romantic light on Rob when he kind of gets cornered by Z and Haley Gates' character Misha in the room with the beautiful last rays of sun going down, and then the nightfall. Like, in the wedding scene, there was a certain progression with a certain logic to it, but during the wine tasting, it was quite consistent.
You get into characters' heads throughout the movie, where you're seeing sometimes like what they are thinking of doing, like where they might want to laugh or they're remembering certain scenes. Were these all scripted? Were you ever sort of on the day figuring out different like alts? Like, how did you go about shooting these sort of sometimes like half-second shots?
Mm-hmm. Yes, all of this was scripted. All of this was planned. There were definitely flashback sequences. There were memories. We had memories, we had imagination, and we had flashbacks. And those were kind of the three categories. And each category had a list of things that we needed to get. Everything was pre-planned except for we kind of always kept it in our mind. Like, we needed to have a montage of Zendaya's character Emma laughing. Like, there's a line in the beginning about her laugh and how it's repulsive. So we needed to get her laughing like 20 times. So every time we would go to a new place, we would go to this location or that location. She's at work, or she's at the bookstore, or she's in the street. We would just do and pick up. We would go and pick up certain bits and pieces of her laughing whenever we can. So there was kind of like an ongoing theme throughout the shoot where we had all these bits and pieces to cover, and we just kind of kept doing it. But yeah, everything was pretty much pre-planned.
So there's just a reel on some hard drive of just like an hour of Zendaya laughing.
Oh yeah, there's definitely some good stuff.
There's also, like you said, there's flashbacks. There's like Zendaya's character has backstory sections that you guys shot. Can you talk about shooting that stuff? And then there's also like Robert Pattinson with young Zendaya and shooting that. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so as I was saying, there were the imagination parts where, after Robert's character Charlie learns the truth about his fiance, I think he starts to spiral, and his imagination, brings out all these dark ideas. Those were the beats of him fantasizing about women with guns, or him fantasizing about. Am I allowed to say guns?
No, I think we released these in two parts. I think if you're listening this far, you've watched the movie.
Yeah, I think yeah. So I think the book with the guns that he's paranoid about at his museum at the office, and then his imagination with the young Emma shooting guns. There were just like this awkward, hilarious moments that we were shooting. Him and young Emma going to a park to feed the squirrels. Like, it didn't quite, like, not everything made it into the film, but we had this whole half day when we were just feeding squirrels in a park in Boston with a young version of his fiance, which is incredibly disturbing. But yeah, so these were the imaginations, and then the memories of all the moments that happened where she might have overreacted or might have seemed a little short or abrasive, that he thinks he spirals and thinks he could have spotted that. Maybe he would have spotted that before if he was paying more attention. Yeah, those were the beats. And then the flashbacks were a whole separate unit that we did in February. We did it 2 months after we wrapped the shoot in Boston. We did it in New Orleans, in Louisiana, with young Emma, which was about her childhood.
Talking about bits that got removed from the film, are there any deleted scenes that you're able to tell us about?
Not much. I was thinking about it the other day because pretty much everything, if not everything, made it into the film. I think it was quite economical in the sense of the scenes. There was one scene about Charlie and Emma watching something on a computer, which didn't make it. It wasn't like it was very, very small thing. Pretty much everything made it into the film. That only speaks highly to Christopher's ability to sort of pre-visualize and predetermine what and how is going to work in his mind and how much screen time is going to take. So yeah, it was pretty much everything is there.
Is there a scene or sequence that going in like there was a plan in your head or that on paper, and then when you saw the finished movie that it really was like different in some way in its construction or even on set on the day that the plan didn't work or you decided something else was better?
Let me think. I have this entire album with all the screenshots from the film that I always refer to. I think I don't know if there was like one thing that I definitely was surprised by or this changed fundamentally.
I mean, it seems like it was a very tight script and tight plan. So
It was a pretty tight script, so I don't necessarily think that there was any particular scene that has been changed so dramatically. I love that the dance sequence in the beginning became the opening credits of the film. I really do love the design and the font and kind of like the design of it all is nice and it's very crafty and I like it. And it wasn't meant to be necessarily the opening credits. Yeah, like I was really impressed by the editing, honestly. Like I saw one of the earlier cuts with Chris and Josh here in New York a long time ago when they were still, in a middle of editing, and I was really impressed by the editing. It's really really smart and it's really courageous and kind of kind of opened my eyes on what's possible in many ways because the script didn't necessarily imply that that's how the edit is going to work, But I wouldn't say that there were any big scenes that changed dramatically. It was pretty well planned, and we kind of
Yeah, I'll sort of tweak the question to say, what scene were you like most proud of how it ended up?
I'm really proud of the wedding scene. I'm proud of a lot of things in the film, but I'm mostly proud of the wedding scene. It was a beast to shoot. It took us so many days. It has so many pieces of the puzzle that had to come together and so many bits and pieces, introducing the new DJ and then, the bathroom and then the hallway and then this and that and people coming and leaving. And it was like it was like a big movie and the amount of overheads and camera positions and charts that we made just to get everybody on the same page and have a coherent game plan. Because when you shoot something like this and you have like so many extras, so much stuff going on, you have the light changing and you have the weather and you have like gazillion things happening for days and days, it was really important to get everybody on the same page. So that took a lot of pre-planning, many cameras, a lot of pre-planning, and yeah, I think it was a team effort, and I think it worked out beautifully. Like I really love how it came together, and I like the light progression and the emotion of it, and it just sits very, very, very well in the fabric of the film, I think, itself.
How many cameras would you say were running at the wedding, or like what was the most amount of cameras running at any given time?
The most we had was three. I think mostly it was two. Mostly it was two on a daily basis for that particular location. We finished the shooting all the apartment scenes for the last 2 weeks in December, and there was only one camera because it was a real location. You saw the spiral staircase. Like we had to get really small and nimble in that apartment. But yeah, for the wedding scene, it was two cameras.
Is there something on this project that you feel you'll take with you onto whatever you work on next?
It's a very good question. I think that certainly, I think that there are many, many things that I always pride myself on being able to learn on every single thing that I work on. And I think that I learned a lot about Christopher's way of working. I learned a lot about trust, and I learned a lot about editing, shooting coverage in a non-pedestrian way, being really smart and being a designer with coverage and figuring out how to cover the scene in a creative way. I'm definitely gonna take my team onto the next project because I love them and they're the best from this one. We had a great gaffer in Boston, France, weathering. We had a great key grip met Mania. I love those guys. I worked with them on commercials afterwards since we shot the film. Yeah, yeah, I think there are many things that you inevitably learn. If I had to, I should probably make a list, honestly.
If you had to like take a frame of this movie and like hang it on your wall, what shot do you think it would be?
Yes, I love the photo shoot, but not the photo shoot at the studio. I love the photo shoot that happens right before the wedding ceremony in a hallway. There's a really beautiful like Raging Bull dolly push in onto Rob and Z saying their vows and like opening the veil and kissing her. And then there's a photo shoot right after where they stand with an entire family. I really love that like there are like 6 people or 8 people shot with them and their families, which is amazing. Yeah, I love that one.
Only since you're the DP of the movie we can ask, but is there something like ultra specific, like hidden maybe in the back of the frame or something that like only you or someone crucial like very involved with the movie like would ever notice or something only you would notice if you rewatched the movie?
Oh, there's like 1,000 of those. I don't know.
We have some people be like, "No, man."
I mean, there's so many things to notice. I don't know if those things necessarily have a lot of relevance to the film itself, but if you work on a film and you shoot a film, every single scene that comes up on screen, I have a lot to say. There's like a gazillion of things. There's like in the final scene where they're sitting at a deli
Uh-huh.
together and she is in a wedding dress and he is there. There's a on the wall behind there's a bag of Lay's chips that was driving me absolutely mad. And an entire night that I just couldn't shake it off. I was going and I was spiraling about this bag of chips, and everybody around me was saying that I'm acting weird and I need to stop. And it was driving me nuts. I think yeah, it was a coverage of Rob, and there's a fridge behind him, and there's this like
Mhm.
uh there's like a tree of Lay's bags that drove me bananas.
What, you didn't like it? You didn't like it in your frame?
No, I just didn't like it in my frame. And now I look at it and I'm like, I remember that and it doesn't bother me anymore at all.
I have to say, I don't remember this.
Yeah, but when you're there in the moment, you're like, this should not be here. And I think every frame has its own thing, and because I have OCD, I just obsess over everything. But yeah, I really did love there are very few shots in the film, which is Robert's imagination of the massacre at the wedding. With all the dead people at the wedding venue. I really loved shooting that, and we had so much fun shooting that because we had all the background actors running or laying on the floor dead, and they were all obviously alive people pretending to be dead. But we had so much fun just staging that, and I remember all of them because you would walk through the big hall and talk to all of them and ask them to adjust their body position or just like put more blood here and there and like work with the art department and do this and that. And then they would all just freeze and then would roll the camera and then it would come back to life. I remember those guys so well. It was really, really fun. And when I see the scene, I just always come back to the hilarious day. But yeah, aside from that, I think every shot has something I would think about and or obsess over.
We've asked a few DPs this question. I think the Lay's answer is the best one we've gotten so far.
Perfect.
Yes, so you've collaborated with Travis Scott, like I said earlier, on Circus Maximus and on music videos. Can you talk about working on that stuff?
Yeah, I shot with Travis in Nigeria. It was one of the 5 films, I believe, one of the 5 music videos in that Circus Maximus film that he did. I worked with a fantastic director whose name is Andrew Dosunmu. He's a Nigerian American director who made such films as Mother of George and Where is Kyra, I believe is the right way to pronounce it, or where is Kira? I always make a mistake. And he's brilliant. I've known Andrew for a long time. We went to Nigeria. We flew into Lagos. We shot on film. We flew into Lagos with all the equipment. This was my second time around in Nigeria. I've made a feature there many years ago on 16. And from Lagos, we flew into Kanu, which is the old capital, deep in the desert, deep on the other side of the country. Yeah, it was brilliant. We were in the middle of nowhere. We had all the people from the villages come and join us. Travis was there. We shot for 2 days. it was pretty insane. It was an absolutely insane shoot, and it was one of those adventurous ones. When you come back and you was like, what was that? It was really hard to do. It was a really hard one. Yeah, I really appreciate my crew that went on this ride with me. Yeah, love that music video. Love the way it turned out.
Cool. Another cool music video you worked on was Psycho Killer, which was directed by Mike Mills. Can you talk about how
Mhm.
you got that job? And I just watched it. It's a super cool video. How long did it take?
Thank you. Yeah, that was a really, really fun project. We shot it at the beginning of last year, I believe. We shot it at the same time when there were those big fires in Los Angeles, when everybody's houses burned down. And the only way we were able to do it is we were shooting far enough. We were shooting in Pomona, which is about 40 miles away from 30 or 40 miles away from LA. It was a very small passion project with Mike, whom I love dearly, and we had an amazing cast. We had Saoirse Ronan with us, and I had my usual crew in LA. Yeah, we shot at the studios in Pomona, and yeah, it was very like family affair sort of project, and it was really, really nice. We just shot with a very small team. We shot it in one day. Yeah, it was pretty quick, and we had limited means, and I think we did pretty great with our limited means. And I worked with the Talking Heads before, and I love them. I'm very very honored to be a part of this specific music video. Love their music and love working with Mike always.
Yeah, I saw 20th Century Women and I just connected the dots. I was like, I guess he's ultra Talking Heads fan. That movie
Yes,
features a lot of them.
yes, he loves them. He's a yeah.
When else did you collaborate with the Talking Heads as a fan? I'm curious.
I did a promo with David Byrne for the A24's release of the.
Stop making sense.
Yes, it happened a couple of years ago, and we shot at the dry cleaners here in Chelsea, and David showed up on a bike with his oversized suit, and yeah, we shot for a day also. It was pretty fun.
Cool. I think I've
Um,
seen that promo
yeah,
that you're
yeah,
talking about.
yeah, yeah. We shot the promo. He's such a great guy. It was a great pleasure working with him.
Awesome. Are you working on anything you're at liberty to speak on?
Yeah, I have a few things that I'm working on which are in deep development or very early, very, very early soft pre-production. There were a few things that might or might not go later this year, but I'm also enjoying some time off right now. I'm in New York, and I'm on a long commercial job right now in Italy. I'm just kind of like enjoying some time off doing commercials. I recently wrapped India Donaldson's feature with A24 and Plan B. We wrapped in late December, so not too long ago. So I'm also taking some time off right now. Very excited about that film. And yeah, nothing big on the horizon at the moment, but something will happen. Something will happen.
Parth, should I hit him with the Big Kahuna final question?
I think it's time.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. So our Big Kahuna final question is, what is the last great movie you watched? And the only thing is, it can't just be good, it has to be great. And you could have seen it before, or it's your first time.
Does it have to be a new film or it could be any film?
Any film that you've watched recently.
But what if I have a few? I need to choose now.
That's fine. That's
List them
fine.
out. List them out.
All right. I think overall great year for films this last year, but I like multiple things, but Afternoons of Solitude by Albert Serra is definitely my favorite. And I like Albert. I love his previous films. I love Pacifiction. And Afternoons of Solitude I've rewatched a few times now. I think it's a brilliant documentary about matadors. If you haven't seen it, please watch it. And I definitely, out of the old films I keep bringing this up recently. I've seen Victor Erice's film called El Sur. Victor Erice is a Spanish director who's only made very few films in his career. He made The Spirit of the Beehive, and El Sur is his second feature film about a young girl's childhood and adolescence growing up with an absent and distant father, shot in the south of Spain, which I love very much. It's on Criterion Channel. These two would be my highlights. And Yeah, I loved one battle after another. I thought that was great. I loved Marty Supreme. I thought it was such amazing craft in every possible way, in costume and cinematography and production design. It was just brilliant. Yeah, good things came out this year. Good things came out this year for sure.
Agreed. Thank you so much to our guest this week, Arseni Khachaturan. He's the DP behind such films like Circus Maximus, Bones and All, and our film for today, Christopher Borgley's The Drama. Go see it in a theater near you. It's great. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you guys. Thanks for having me.
Wow. Trent, I don't know how we're outdoing that one.
I think, Parth, that interview was so good that Spotify is gonna send us an email about how they have to remove
It's too
it
powerful.
because it's like drawing away too many listeners from like
We're sort of
be-
the data center, suctioning all the power.
Yes, all of my neighbors have been like knocking on the door and they're like, the water isn't running, like it's like coming out like brown, and it's because like the data center that is craft services is drawing an insane amount of power.
So before we get into what we're actually talking about here, thank you so much to Arseni Khachaturan and his team for and A24 for helping make this interview happen. And when we released part one, fine and dandy. There was nothing wrong with the episode. We upload it, and we suddenly a day or two ago got a notification that the episode had been flagged, and we had no idea why. And then the episode was taken off Spotify. It's still on Apple Podcasts, but this was the first time that it had ever happened. And I wondered what it would be, and Trent and I have no clue what it is because there's nothing notable about last week's episode. But I guess the working theory is that our opening music is obviously copyrighted, but it's fair use because we're, transforming it in some respect. And so you, the listener, you may see part one back up because I may have taken down the original episode and then re-uploaded it or something. But yeah, Trent, this is a first for craft services.
And I feel like for years we've been like sucking up to the U.S. government on the pod.
I know.
In order to like prepare for this moment and get in their good graces so that we could continue to act a fool without ever being monitored and like having unchecked power, which was really how I liked it.
Yeah, I really thought that all those years of, hailing Trump and Elon would have, bought us some more goodwill. But I guess...
and like you said off the air, we had like basically years of posting like stuff with much more heavy copyrighted material.
Yeah. So it's
that
very
never was an
confusing
issue.
And I appealed it with Spotify, and I immediately got a response from Spotify saying that my appeal had been rejected, which meant there was no person that actually reviewed it. And despite that, now because of that, the episode will not come back on Spotify unless I take it down and re-upload it. And I have actually no clue why.
So maybe this and last week's episode, maybe it'll get uploaded without the intro or some sort of new temporary intro. But if you want to hear the episode, you might just have to jump right into Parth and I shooting the shit.
But the thing is, this offers.
She didn't.
Exactly.
We just thought about it.
But Trent and I will actually shoot the shit, but just the shit, not people. And this sort
But Parth,
of leads us.
even if you thought about it, we could work it out like they did.
Really, you and me?
You think they're gonna work it out, Parth?
I think so. I think you can read the movie in many ways, but I think it has a hopeful ending.
I concur. I think you and
Trent, what's the worst thing you've ever done?
If we didn't have recording equipment in front of us, I'd tell you. And funny thing,
And Trent, you.
And Parth, funny thing, I think you already know. But let's talk about this without a big, nice microphone.
Without
right in front of me.
Audacity, memorializing everything.
Yeah, just because, like, like my parents listen to this.
Sure.
Um,
My parents also sometimes listen to this.
yeah. Well, we're on Spotify sometimes. Apple
I know.
Podcasts all the time. Pandora, Stitcher,
We're getting on YouTube. Trent, our 2024 catalog is starting to go back up there.
and YouTube now. Search up Craft Services, John Wick 3 Parabellum, and you're
Wow.
in for a fucking treat. Or just Craft Services podcast, I think. I don't know. Producer Bash, shout out.
Yes, thank you
thanks.
for making everything happen.
That's my boy right there. What else? Instagram, Twitter. We'll see how long we're on those platforms before we get deep platforms.
Before we get frigging canceled.
And then we have to be on Truth Social.
Oh, God.
Is Trump still exclusively on Truth Social, or is he back on Twitter?
No, he's on all the things again.
Oh,
but I think his thing of choice now is Truth Social.
Mm-hmm.
But he'll still tweet.
Good for him, bro.
Well, and bad for all of us. But what was great for all of us was this interview. So thank you again to Arseni Khachaturan and A24. And folks, we'll be seeing you next week. Like it or not.
In one way or another, yeah. We'll release something.
I'm going to find you. I'm going to catch you, Turin. I don't know.
And I'm going to Arseni you the new episode on Sundays at 5 a.m. I don't know. I have to
that
go to
only
work.
kind of worked, but Trent, it's okay. I forgive you.
Oh, it's all my fault.
Yep.
You're also conversationally responsible.
No. All right.
Bye,
Bye, Trent.
Parth.